It is February something of 2021, and we are going to make an ice rink for the kids. Grandpa Dave got us a ice rink in a bag, so we've just got this place being leveled out, and we're going to fence it off so that the horses and goats and stuff don't get in it and add their contributions. Also, we don't want them to crack the ice, but first we're going to level out the snow as best we can, and it's already pretty frozen, so we're going to level it out with some water and see how that does. So now we're packing down the snow with water to make sure that our snow is going to freeze nice and firm, and then in a couple hours when we put water on, it shouldn't try to run away. Remember, only spray on the high spots. Don't spray on the low spots because we want the water to run into the low spots, okay? We're trying to melt the higher spots with the water and have it pack down. Good. Don't get your boots wet, please. Because what's the rule out here?
Stay dry or else you die.
That's right. Stay dry or else you die. Good kid. Hey, buddy. Are you having some fun?
Yeah.
You want to have a turn?
Yeah.
Okay, one sec. We are almost at the final phase in our ice rink here. We have leveled a big chunk. We have made rudimentary fence posts out of cinder blocks with wood and ice stuck in them, or rather snow that we then dumped water on and turned to ice. I learned the hard way that cinder blocks don't have a whole lot of structural integrity as far as pressure from the inside out. I was driving a piece of wood in them, thinking I was clever, that the wood would chip off if it was not going to fit, and instead I made one explode. So now we are down one cinder block and my pride. So luckily we had enough to do this. So it's fenced off so that the animals can't get in. We don't want the horses walking on it and breaking on it. We don't want the goats pooping on it and making a rocky road ice rink, because that wouldn't be any good. My darling husband here is he-manning the crap out of this pile of snow, and he's building up the edges. And I don't know if you know this, but disturbed snow, even if it's powder, once it's been moved, like with a shovel or whatever, it encourages it to freeze up really solid. And we're supposed to go down probably to minus between 15 and 20 tonight. So even if we don't sprinkle this with water, by the time we come out in the morning, this should be just about as solid as concrete. And yeah, hopefully this will keep the animals out. The last step in our ready rink here is to fill this up with water. Now, I'm not sure if this is something that we would buy again, because I didn't read the instructions very well, and this is a single-use plastic, which is unfortunate. The idea is you fill it up and then you rip the top off once it has frozen. But of course, we're going to find a way to use this plastic elsewhere. It might be a small greenhouse, or possibly a little rain shelter for the chickens in summertime. There's lots of things that we can do with clear plastic. But just be warned, if you're thinking of buying a ready rink, that, yeah, you'll have some recycling. Pardon? Hey, a snowblower! Wow! We have a lot of snow. And it tends to fall really, really powdery out here, which is nice. But the downside is that then it does take up a lot of space when it freezes and gets rained on and refreezes. So we end up with several feet of snow. The nice thing about using a snowblower actually to clear the driveway is that when it does get tossed and fall, wherever it lands smaller than it fell in the first place, so it takes up less space. Just a little tidbit of information there. Anyway, the next step is to fill this up with water, and then we're going to sit around and watch ice freeze, or watch water freeze. Man, end of the video and I ruined it. Yeah, watch Dad freeze. Poor Rob. Alright, so the final step is to put the hosey thingy into the whole thing. Oh, I thought it had to be attached, but I guess not.
Just go ahead and fire it up and we'll start filling up this great big water balloon.
Yeah, putting things into the hole is my husband's specialty, not mine, so. Alright, it's filling up. We're going to see how crappy of a job we did at leveling. Hopefully not too crappy, but it's a big plastic bag, so hopefully it'll hold. We're about 5 minutes into filling. Can't really tell. Still just kind of looks like a sheet of plastic with a hose stuck in it. Oh, are you getting cold? And Gabriel took off his mitts, fell in the snow, and then he grabbed the metal fence. So he had a bad time. Right now we're about 10 minutes into filling it, I think. Now, looking at it in retrospect, we probably should have put the hole on the highest spot up there. But I'm hoping that there's enough give that it won't matter. Visibility courtesy of these awesome lights that we turned on. I forgot that we had those until our kid was in the house flipping light switches and turned that on. We should actually make those ones, that one that's right outside the laundry room door. We should make that one super bright too. Rhiannon, are you making a good decision right now? Progress.
Yet, so. Get in there.
Rob put tape around so that the horses don't go gallivanting directly into it. Anyone who says, well, why aren't your horses fenced off away from this stuff, has obviously never had hot wire in the snow. But if you'd like to make a donation, we could put real fencing up, which would be nice.
You have a 7-foot fence and 3 feet of snow, all of a sudden you get
Yep.
a 4-foot fence.
Back out here at the ice rink. It is slowly but surely plumping up. I was worried that perhaps the hose was going to freeze, but so far hasn't frozen yet. There is still water coming out of it. It is starting to snow a little bit. Don't know if anyone can see that, but I'm cautiously optimistic that this might work. I hope. So the ice rink is filling up, but we're having an unexpected issue, and that's that our well pump keeps going into overload. So we've turned down the pressure, so now it's just kind of trickling in there, but apparently that was still too much for it. So let's hope that we can do this without cooking the well pump. This is a lot of water, I guess. Well, this is an unfortunate turn of events. We had to abort mission early because our well pump, I don't really know what exactly has happened to it. It is supposed to be well pumping, and it is not pumping well. So we're not sure if it's just overheated. It did go into some kind of like overdrive shutdown or something. But yeah, at the moment now we have no water, so that's a little bit scary. So stay tuned to see how this ends. All right, so we're back at it again. Back to refilling. We've had a little bit of snow. My husband actually discovered that we have a secondary well pump in the house, and it's connected to a secondary well, which we haven't had tested. So what he did is he disconnected the start capacitor from the other well pump and put it into our regular well. So that's pretty awesome. Now we're back to filling this water bladder thingy up, and hopefully it hasn't frozen too solid yet that this isn't going to work, but I guess we're going to see. Well, it's a new day. My husband managed to get the water running again, thank goodness. He took one of the run capacitors from our other well pump and put it in, and hopefully that'll do the trick. But we figured out that we can really only run the hose for about 10 minutes or so without the pump going into overload. So we're just going to fill it up little bits at a time. I tested the rink earlier this morning, and there was a layer of ice, but unfortunately I think the snow that fell on it might have insulated it a bit, and it wasn't totally frozen. So who knows, it might take a day or two before it fully freezes, but it's getting closer to being an ice rink, that's for sure. There's my tired husband. He was up till like 11 o'clock trying to make sure we had running water. Well, hopefully this will work. Ice rink is still rinking. I rink. Sorry, I couldn't help it. Slowly but surely filling up. Emphasis on slowly, more than surely. Pretty exciting. Looks even more like an ice rink now. Well, I guess it looks like a water rink. And here's a rooster. Hi, Rosie. Bark. And here's Dayton. He's come to say hello. He wants to learn how to ice skate too. The edges are starting to puff up a bit, But it's not quite so low here that the water's seeping out the hole yet, so that's pretty awesome.